Here we are at Super Training Gym. It's December 14th, 2014, and we're going to do things a little bit different today. Today is a big shout out to my big bro. Hopefully he's up that way and not down that way. Big bro, hopefully you're listening. Hopefully you can hear the earth shatter as Super Training Gym lifts each and every day for you. And December 14th was a day 6 years ago that my brother passed away. It was a Sunday, just like it is today, and the weather was kind of similar. I remember the day pretty clearly looking back at it. And it was a day just like today. We trained, we did some speed bench, normal day of training, got home and got a phone call from my dad and just heard this voice in heard this tone in my dad's voice that, you know, a lot of us grow up with some pretty tough dads and grow up with some pretty awesome parents. And I was fortunate enough to grow up with really great parents. And my dad and my mom were people that never really showed, they never wore their day on their sleeve. Anything that was bad, anything that was not going the right way, we were pretty sheltered from. My family always did a good job of doing that, but this was such a tragic event. My dad could not hide it in his voice on what had happened. My brother Mike, Maddog Mike Bell, had passed away, and my dad gave me that phone call and said, your brother, he passed away. And it was a long journey with my brother. My brother is somebody who struggled with drugs and alcohol for many, many years. And so part of the reason why I'm doing this today is because each year I try to just express my feelings to people that if you have somebody who's suffering from mental illness, my brother was diagnosed as bipolar. If you have somebody who's suffering from addiction and or mental illness, a lot of times they go hand in hand. Please open your arms up and try your best to reach out to them. I'm having a very hard time not getting choked up. It's a very emotional moment talking about him because he was somebody that I idolized growing up as a kid. You know, I talk a lot about Bo Jackson. I talk a lot about Mike Tyson, and I talk a lot about guys like Muhammad Ali and people that are great like that. I also talk a lot about my pops. My dad was my hero growing up as well. But both of my brothers had huge influences and huge impacts, huge positive impacts on my life, all the way to the point where it's stuff that still carries with me to this very day. And my brother Mike was somebody who lived his life on the edge. And he has the quote, if you've seen Bigger, Stronger, Faster, if you haven't seen Bigger, Stronger, Faster, make sure you watch it. He's in there a lot. His spirit lives on through that. But he has the quote in Bigger, Stronger, Faster where he says, I'd rather be dead than average. And he was that kind of person. He always strived to be great. He always strived for perfection. But when he was not able to do it, it cost him a lot of problems and a lot of trouble. And he was somebody who lived his life on the edge of a sword pretty much day in and day out. But as I said earlier, I like to do this each and every year because I feel that it's important that people not just turn their back on people that are facing these issues. They're really important. And as I'm talking, we're just going to lay this over some of the lifting footage. It might look a little bit weird. It might look a little bit bizarre compared to what you're used to seeing me spouting out information about tucking your elbows and flaring them as you're pressing through a bench press. But there are more important issues out there. And this is something that is close to my heart and something that is very important to me. I'm the kind of person that I live my life day to day. I don't really think too much about the future, and you might think that's kind of weird for somebody who's a business owner, but that's just the way I've always been, and I'll continue to kind of be that way. And as I was working out, you know, I saw this. My brother posted this. My brother Chris posted this up on Facebook. And I wasn't even thinking about the day. I do know that the day is coming. Because my birthday is December 10th, and I always know that it's around my birthday. But I don't think too much about the future. I try not to think about things that are tragic, such as events like that. But my brother was somebody who's in rehab for on and off for periods of time, and he really struggled with it. And as many people do, they go to rehab, and it ends up just basically causing too many problems and end up being almost worse off than they were before. But he really did try to fight the battle. The important thing is, the take-home message that I want you all to understand is that you cannot cannot do it alone. So if you have a family member, a friend, anybody, I know they can be a pain in the ass. I know. I lived through it. My parents lived through it. We all lived through it. And he is gone. He is no longer here today. So not that we didn't try. We all tried, and I feel comfortable in our efforts. You can't always save everybody. Not everybody even wants to be saved. He said many times that he does not want to be here, and that was his prerogative. That was his choice. But again, try to reach out. It's too painful to live with, so if you can save somebody, try to work on it. Out of every great tragedy comes a lot of good things as well. We still have to live with that. My parents still have to live with that, and it's not an easy thing to live with. But as a family, we have grown closer. My parents moved from New York all the way out to California to be with myself, my wife, their grandkids, my children, and also my brother Chris, who lives in Los Angeles, California. I live in Sacramento. So a lot of good things have come from it. But also, on top of that, when my brother passed, it was a good kick in the ass for me. I didn't have, other than super training gym and a pretty strong bench press, I didn't have shit going on in my life at that time. There was no Power magazine. There was no Slingshot. Super training gym was not the empire that it is today. We weren't a standalone gym as we are now. But a lot of the things that I've learned from my brother, a lot of his passion, a lot of his aggression still lives in my veins today and still lives in my brother Chris. And we will continue to fight on to be the best we can possibly be and to try to carry on his name the best we possibly can. And as I mentioned earlier, and as I always say, strength is never a weakness. The stronger you can be going into something, the better you'll be coming out of it.
Yeah, is that supposed to be an eagle or a seagull?
That's the same thing with shit on you. There we go. Put our bling.
Bling.
Great job. If I got that deadlift, you would have first, not been second. If I got that. That old man here. No, first place he got. Well, that's because he didn't do his very, very best. Yeah, he got a gold medal and that.
Make sure your hand is supposed to be like this.